So one of the questions I get all the time is, how do I put together an offer to present to an agent or a homeowner? And how am I validating that offer? And what am I using to create my offers? In this video, I'm going to show you how I'm using the HUD statement, the only real way to create an offer for a property.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.
Hey, it's Barry, and I want to show you, this is going to be a little bit in depth. It's going to be going through some stuff on the computer. But if you really want to be able to put the right offer in on a property, you have to know your expenses going in, and you've got to know your numbers going out. There's no way you can buy a property without knowing both sides of the equation. Anyone who tells you otherwise isn't doing this on a daily basis. One of the big things that you have to know in advance, you have to know your comps, and you have to know your ARV, which is after repaired value. In this market, what I've been seeing, and probably a lot of you have been seeing, is that realtors are listing distressed properties in decay at the top of the market. It's insane. And so if you see a house that's listed for $450,000 because the other pretty houses went for $450,000, yours isn't worth $450,000. When I'm doing my numbers, I do pretty much the same thing an appraiser would do. You can't fudge the numbers, because once I put them into my program, the program is going to tell me how much I need to bid. What do I need to offer on a particular property? And now I know there's a lot of different programs out there. There's the Zestimates and all this stuff, but nothing works as well as actually seeing the numbers in front of you. Now, if you've ever closed a deal, you know that the actual numbers on a deal, everything involved in it, happen on the HUD. If it's not on the HUD, it pretty much didn't happen, or you did some funny stuff. So why would you estimate your offer based on a CMA or some other kind of algorithm or numbers that you're using, or Zestimate? Because I want to know, what am I going to clear? What's the number going to be that I need to offer and need to get accepted so that I make the profit I want to make on a deal? I'm not looking to move into any of these properties. We are solely interested in these properties as a commodity. So the numbers have to work. There's no other way we can do this, especially in a seller's market. Right now, there's a lot of realtors who think this market's on fire. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow about how I'm finding some other deals. I'm looking at deals that aren't selling. Can you imagine the number of houses that are sitting on the market for 30, 60, 90 days that nobody talks about? Everybody's like, it's hot, it's smoking hot, it's doing great. But if you start looking at properties that have been sitting there for 60 and 90 days, not talking about short sales and waiting for the approval, I'm talking about properties that are sitting there that can't get the number that the agent has placed on the property, or the seller has told the agent that they want. There's a reason for that. So without much further ado, I'm going to jump right into this HUD statement. A HUD statement, if you're not familiar, is the document you go ahead and execute at closing that determines where every dime in the transaction is going. Can't be hidden. It's right there. I've put together an incoming HUD, which shows my purchase, and I have an outgoing HUD, which shows my sale. And I've got all my expenses already formulated in here. So I just have to click a few buttons and boom, it gives me the number. So I'm going to show that to you right now. So if you're not familiar with the HUD, I think you should go online and download one so you can see what happens with it. And I'm going to go somewhat quickly with this. Hopefully you understand. If you have any questions, leave a comment or send me an email. But what you're looking at here is my incoming HUD. This is me, and you see here as the buyer. And I've gone through and I've filled out everything on here. So I'm just going to go quickly and show you. So on page 1, I basically have formulas that show basically if I bid 175 on a house, it fills it all in for me here. It tells me my settlement charges, which I'll show you in a second. And it goes through and it calculates every single number. All those numbers from page 2 end up coming onto page 1. Page 2, basically, The repair funds, that's something you have to input based upon what you're looking at in repairs. And then everything else here is pretty much standard, except for the thing here in red, which is the assignment fee that I'm going to decide what I'm going to bill on a deal. But that I'm going to take out for now. I'm just going to take that out. So we're at 0 for an assignment fee. So it's a inspection fee, lender's points. That'll vary a little bit depending on what the cost of your money is. And then down here, these are pretty much solid costs. You may have a title company that can help you out and do a couple $100 here or there. But for the most part, all these closing fees and things of this nature are pretty much standard. Really pretty standard, even all the way down here to the survey, pest inspection or WDO, that you want to make sure there's no termites or anything. Municipal lien payoffs, all these kind of things are right here, and I would add them as we do our due diligence. Here's where the fun starts. So I go to my sale HUD. This is me as the seller. So if I know my ARV after repaired value is say $350,000, there's really only two numbers on both of these spreadsheets. On all 4 pages, there's really only 2 numbers I really have to change. So up here, taxes, I pretty much don't change that. I'm not going to quiver about a couple grand. But say my after repaired value is $350,000. And I've just put that in there. Now, if I scroll down on this HUD sheet, it tells me what my profit is going to be based upon my price as a purchaser. So now what I need to do is make sure that I've got all my numbers on page 1 or sheet 1 correct. So now if my repairs aren't $56,000, but let's say my repairs are $36,000. Great. So now back here on page 2, I can see that I've got $109,000 worth of actual profit. But unless I can buy a $350,000 house for $175,000 that needs $36,000 in repairs, that's not going to happen. So let me do a real world example for you. Today I looked at a property that's listed at $340,000. Boom, I put that in there. Now I'll go to the front page. I know from looking at that property today that it needs about $40 a square foot. So it's a heavy rehab, and it was a 1,700 square foot property. So if I click here and look at my calculator and say $40 a square foot times 1,700 square feet, that tells me my repairs are going to be in the neighborhood of $68,000. Boom. Now I know that number. Now I look at my profit, and my profit is based on cost. My profit is $67,000. Let's say I want it to get closer to a 20% return, something that some people would consider more realistic. Now I've got to go back in here and see, what can I buy it for? Can I go up to $240,000? If I go up to $240,000 on that $350,000 house that needs $68,000 repairs, I'm not making any money. You see that there? I'm not making any money. So now I've got to find that sweet spot and go to 220. Boom. And now I check my numbers, and I'm at 21,000 with a 13% return. Not really where I want to be, but that's just my basis point. That's the worst that I can do on this property is $220,000 as an offer on a $350,000 house that needs $68,000 in repairs. Did you follow that? I know I went pretty quick, and I'll do it again. Let me just show you. And it's that simple for me. I don't need Zillow. I don't need the Zestimate. Zestimates, by the way, are bullshit, but I'll tell you about that later. Again, so if my price on the property is $340,000 and all other numbers staying plus or minus 1,000 or so, and I have $68,000 in repairs, then I know that my price at $220, this would be my offer, at $220, I'm only going to make $21,000. So I have 2 choices here. At this point, I look at this and go, hey, 220 is okay. Or I can talk to my general contractor and say, what can we shave off this 68,000? Can we possibly come in for 50, 51? And if he says, yeah, I can get it done for 51,000 with everything that it needs, now without changing anything else, now I'm up at $38,000 in profit on a $220,000 purchase. Now we're starting to make sense. I know what my basis point is. So I can come back in here and say, what if I went to 225? And if I go to 225, mirror, crystal ball here tells me I still make $33,000. That's everything on the deal. That's closing costs. That's hard money costs. That's lender points. That's insurance. That's repairs. Everything. Survey, lien search, everything. Archiving the file. Every single dime of this potential purchase is now accounted for. Not worrying about a Zestimate. I'm not worrying about a CMA. I'm not worried about comps by themselves. I need to know, and you need to know, what your bottom line is on every deal. Don't get into something if the numbers don't work. So you're saying, Barry, this house is listed for, what did I say it was listed for? 330, 340? Yeah, I said this house is listed for $340,000. How are you coming in and getting anything done at 225, 230? Well, maybe not. I don't care. I may not get it done. But if I do, I know I'm making money. See, I'm not interested and I'm not concerned with what the seller is asking. I'm not concerned what other people are bidding. You get those phone calls when they say, I need highest and best by tomorrow. No, I don't do this for practice. You have my highest and best. That's what I'm going to pay you. No, we can't accept it. Fine. No problem. Move on. Move to the next one. I can do this all day. It takes me literally, I don't know how long we've been on this video, but it literally takes me a few minutes to pump my numbers in and see what I need to be. Out goes the offer. Pump them in, out goes the offer. Pump them in, out goes the offer. I can do 10 offers in a span of like 30 minutes because it's non-emotional. There's no attachment to the property. It's all math. There's nothing but math here. And, it works differently for different properties. So, you can look at that and say, hey, Barry, what if that property didn't need a whole bunch of work? What if it only needed $25,000 worth of work? Great. If it needs $25,000 worth of work, then now this profit is a lot higher. It's up to like 60 grand. And so I know I can, if I choose to, if I wanted to move this up to, I don't know, say 238, moved it up some. And now I know I'm still going to make 45 grand. I make my offers according to what I need to make and what my partners need to make. I'm not doing it according to estimates. I'm not doing it because the realtor wants it. I don't care about a bidding war. Bidding war means nothing to me, and it means nothing to real professional investors. I'm not emotional. If I don't get the deal, I don't get the deal. But here's what happens. Oftentimes, people are getting deals and they're getting them under contract and they can't move them, or they can't close on them, or they can't get the loan on them, and it falls apart because they didn't do their numbers. If you don't know your numbers in and out in advance, it's license for malpractice. It's just not going to work. And so people ask me all the time, how do I fill out my offers? That's it. I have a double HUD. I have an incoming HUD and I have an outgoing HUD. I play with a couple different numbers and boom, it spits out like the magic genie. It tells me this is what you need to put your offer in. Is it going to get ripped up or put in a shredder? Maybe. Not really concerned about that. Are they going to think I'm lowballing? No, because I have every substantial backup I can show them. You can't argue with it. And it's funny how many agents who don't understand what goes on a HUD, they think you're making all this money or you're lowballing. I'm like, wait a minute, if I spend this much on this property, I don't make anything. I'm not moving in. I'm not one of these people who are just getting crazy and putting in offers over asking just because they love the property. That's not me. I'm buying this property to turn and make additional profit. So I need to know my numbers going in and the numbers going out, and I need to know both those numbers in advance. That's how I figure out how to use a HUD statement to maximize the offer I'm going to provide to a seller. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to leave a comment or send me an email, or even better, text me. Text me your questions. Boom, I've got my phone right here. Actually, I've got two of them. This is one, and here's the other. I got two phones, two. Getting text, emails all the time. I check my emails maybe once or twice a day, but I always check my text messages. This is how I make the profit on a deal that I need to make. This is how I make sure I don't get hurt. That's what you need to do to make sure you don't get hurt. Talk to you soon.
Your source for profit. Hear what you need to know to succeed in today's real estate market.